elected assessor operating outside BOCC procedure for adverse employment action and to $20,000 deductible, but the assessor is not here. So did he indicate he would be here or not be here?
I have not heard anything from him. I know he's in the building, or at least I believe, because his car is outside.
Okay. Would you like me to go to the second floor and see if he will join us?
I think that would make sense.
Okay. Do you want to do that or me?
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
So.
All right, folks, we'll just take a 3-minute recess real quick and.
I'm back on.
Okay. And you are too. All right, Bill, you still with us?
I'm always with you.
Okay. All right, our assessor has joined us. So the item is elected assessor operating outside BOCC procedure for adverse employment action and $20,000 deductible. It's come to the board's attention that somebody's on admin leave with no, I guess you'd say, path forward. If you want to discuss the individual, we can go into executive session. I don't think we need to discuss the individual for this purpose. I just want to point out that our operating procedure and stuff does not necessarily allow for ongoing admin leave pay without an ongoing investigation amongst HR and legal and all that involved. So are they involved in this situation?
Yes, and Commissioners, I first wanted to say it's rather presumptive to put something on the agenda to say that the assessor is operating outside of the boundaries. That is presumptive in and of itself. I am working through the issue. I am in process of working on getting back to the assessors, to the HR department. No decision was made to this point without first involving HR. So HR.
When were they involved? When did they become involved in this situation?
I'd have to go back and look at my notes, but it was before action was taken. It was I don't have a calendar in front of me, but it was a Monday.
Okay. I don't know if it'd be helpful if I called Sylvia. Maybe she'd remember, or
Yes.
it was February 13th. Okay, and that's when HR was notified. Okay. And so then when was this person put on admin leave?
I believe later that day. If that date is correct, if it was that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Did you have?
I just had a couple of questions.
I just would like to say that I would want to refrain from having a public discussion concerning the performance of any employee.
Correct.
So
Yes.
I'm not going to engage in any specifics at this time. I'm not prepared to do that. I don't think it would be in the best interest of the county to do that.
And that's not our purpose here today. Our purpose here is to remind what the procedure is, and that if the procedure is not followed, then that opens up the county to a $20,000.
And I'm well aware of that. I did have a discussion with ICRIMP.
Okay. Through our attorney, or did you go directly to ICRIMP?
Well, I met first with HR, and then I reached out to ICRIMP.
Okay.
My questions are just very straightforward. They don't have anything to do necessarily with a specific individual in your office. I understand the sensitive nature of that. Do you believe that you're a good communicator? Yes or no?
How is that relevant to our present discussion?
Well, because it's kind of leading to, where the issue is with the person in question.
Yeah, I don't believe it's proper and appropriate to basically conduct a trial here.
Well, it's not a trial. It's just asking some straightforward questions.
Okay.
So do you believe you're a good communicator?
I don't see that that's relevant to our conversation. Yes, I do, but I don't believe that's relevant.
Do you believe in the chain of command?
Again, how is that relevant?
I'm just asking these questions, you know.
Yeah, I don't see it's relevant.
Have you made it a point to make your staff know the policies and procedures of your office?
I believe that's part of being employed as an employee at the county. I know that HR has that process involved.
Yeah.
Yes.
I asked if you'd made it a point.
I am in the process of reviewing all of the internal assessor's office
Okay, so it's
policies, procedures, and practices.
so a no would be a good answer on that.
No would not be a good answer. No would be an incorrect answer.
How many people directly report to you, to the assessor position?
I have my managers, and I have an open door policy. The policy that I have as the assessor is my policy.
Typically, what are the steps involved in disciplining an employee? For example, a verbal warning, a written warning, a personal improvement plan, or administrative leave.
Yeah, if your desire is to review policy, we have the policy. I don't have it committed to memory, but I do refer to it, yes.
Yeah, okay. And are all staff, when they're disciplined, are they notified of why they are being disciplined?
I am in the process of an investigation, and at this point, it's not appropriate.
So, as far as any individual staff in your office, when you initiate discipline, you don't notify them what you're investigating, what they're being disciplined for?
Your question presumes that there's been a lot of initiation of investigations. It really hasn't happened that often in my office since I've been there.
Well, do you notify people when you're giving them any kind of discipline, whether it's a written warning for what it is, what policy or procedure they may have broken? Have you given employees, when you do written warnings, do you explain to them what policy and procedure they may have breached?
As I said,
Yeah.
Just a word of caution, I guess. The agenda specifically is referencing the procedure for $20,000 deductible. How about just the general operation?
Yeah.
Requirements or procedures of the assessor's office itself?
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
A reminder about what the agenda itself says.
Sure.
That's fair enough. So, ultimately, what I'm just trying to determine is if a person is put on notice, administrative leave, as is in this case, are they notified why they're put on administrative leave? Or are they just put on administrative leave and...
yes, and I had the conversation with HR, and I followed the instruction of HR.
Yeah. Yeah. My only concern is that the person claims that they have not been notified. So, and that could end up being a problem with procedure here.
Well, apparently there's a disagreement.
Yeah.
So at this point, I just wanted to remind kind of what the procedure is, and Darren, you can, fill in if you want. Once an elected official or manager is made aware of a situation that needs investigation or needs some type of disciplinary action, typically they go to HR and legal. Then they make the decision to go up to ICRIMP or to handle it in-house, depending on exactly what it is. And so when those things are not followed, then that's where we get into the sticky situation of having big deductibles when the procedure is not followed. Unfortunately, I think that some of the things that are happening are of cause of concern, especially you talking to ICRIMP without going through HR, just going directly to them.
I did talk to HR, and
HR told you to call ICRIMP?
I have had a conversation with Darren and HR in December.
So this particular person who's on admin leave, this incident happened in December?
there have been multiple issues for which I have a need for an investigation. I have been working with HR and legal concerning that. And in a prior conversation, I had a conversation with Darren, and I don't know if it was a conversation or an email, that I was cleared to go ahead and communicate with ICRIM. That was my understanding.
I don't recall those conversations. We're going to discuss any privileged communication. We should do that.
Sure. Do you feel that is necessary?
I think so.
So Bill, there's an item we want to address in executive session. So I have my cell phone and I will call you right back. But stay on the line. Stay on the line while we vote. So do you want to go ahead?
Very good. Before you vote, I think that Bruce made some very good points. And one question that lingers in my mind is why the assessor was not at this meeting when it was clearly he was going to be on the agenda.
You
Is that a question?
Yeah.
So,
That's a question, yes.
no, I did not monitor the commissioner's calendar. And so, no, I did not, and I did not receive a special notice of this meeting, so I had not planned on coming.
Okay. The calendar clearly shows that you were sent an
I understand
invite,
that, and
so.
I just, I guess it's a different way that this county does business. It's very reactive in terms of requiring, I suppose, the other department heads and elected officials to monitor the commissioner's calendar rather than.
Usually when they get an invite, that's the tip off that.
Yeah, and I
They're needed.
don't recall seeing one.
Okay. All right. I would take a motion.
I move that we go into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061B.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, folks. We'll